When humanity's warship arrived, the galaxy knew true fear. Part 1: The Arrival. Counselor had seen many ships in her long career. She had watched the elegant silver vessels of the glide through space like swimming creatures. She had observed the brutal war machines of the, covered in weapons and armor. She had even witnessed the ancient ships of the, so old that no one remembered who built them. But she had never seen anything like the ship that appeared on that day. It was a normal morning on Trade Station. The massive space station floated in neutral space, far from any empire's border. Hundreds of species came here to trade, to talk, and to make deals. Stood in the observation deck, watching small transport ships move between the station's many docking ports. Her assistant, a young named, walked up to her with a data pad in his thin fingers. "Counselor, there are rumors spreading through the station." Turned her 4 eyes toward him. "What kind of rumors?" "About the humans," said. "They say the humans have finally built a faster-than-light ship. They say it is coming here." Made a sound that meant she was not impressed. "I have heard such rumors for 20 cycles. The humans are primitive. They barely left their own planet 100 years ago. They cannot have developed FTL technology so quickly." "That is what everyone says," agreed. "But the rumors are very specific this time. They say the ship is already in our region of space." Was about to reply when every alarm on the station began to scream. Red lights flashed across the observation deck, grabbed the railing as the station shook slightly. Through the massive window, she saw something impossible. A hole was opening in space itself, a swirling circle of energy that glowed with colors she had no name for. "What is that?" whispered. Did not answer. She could not answer. She could only watch as something emerged from the hole. The ship came through slowly, as if it wanted everyone to see it clearly. And everyone did see it. Every being on station stopped what they were doing and looked at the human vessel. It was massive, had seen large ships before, but this was different. This ship was not built for beauty or efficiency. It was built for one purpose only: war. The hull was dark gray, almost black, covered in thick armor plates that overlapped like the scales of some terrible beast. There were no smooth curves, no elegant lines. Every angle was sharp and brutal. Weapons covered the surface, more weapons than could count. Some she recognized, many she did not. The ship moved forward and noticed something else. There were scars on the armor, burns and scratches and dents that had been repaired but not hidden. This ship had been in battle before, many battles. "By the ancient stars," said, "it is real." The station's communication system crackled. A voice spoke in perfect galactic common, the language all species used for trade and diplomacy. "This is Captain Ho of the Earth vessel Eternal Dawn. We come in peace. We request dialogue with the representatives of the galactic community." The message was simple. The words were friendly, but felt cold fear spread through her body. She had studied humans for many years. She knew their history. She knew about their world wars, their nuclear weapons, their endless conflicts. The other species in the galaxy had looked at Earth and decided it was too dangerous to contact. "Let the humans fight among themselves," they said. "Let them destroy each other. It is safer that way." But the humans had not destroyed themselves. They had survived. They had grown stronger. And now they were here. "Counselor," said, his voice shaking, "what do we do?" Watched the Eternal Dawn move closer to the station. It was still far away, but even from this distance she could see the scale of it. The ship was larger than some moons. "We answer them," she said. The next hour was chaos. The station's council gathered in the emergency chamber, a room built for exactly this kind of situation. Representatives from dozens of species crowded inside, all talking at once. The noise was tremendous. Sat in her assigned seat and watched the others. The ambassador was demanding immediate military response. The representative was calling for evacuation. A group of smaller species had already fled to their ships. Only the ambassador remained calm. Elder sat perfectly still, his ancient eyes watching everything. They were the oldest species in the galaxy. They had seen civilizations rise and fall for 10,000 years. Nothing surprised them anymore. "We must destroy them before they destroy us," the ambassador shouted. His name was Warlord, and he was exactly what his title suggested. "One ship is nothing. Send a fleet now, and we end this threat forever." "And if we fail?" another voice asked. "Look at that ship, look at its weapons. Do you truly believe it came alone?" The argument continued. Listened carefully. She noticed that everyone was talking about the humans as enemies. No one considered that they might actually want peace. But why would a peaceful species build such a terrible ship? Her data pad vibrated. A new message had arrived from the Eternal Dawn. Opened it and read carefully. "We understand that our arrival may cause concern. We built this vessel because we did not know what we would find among the stars. We hoped for friends. We prepared for enemies. We still hope for friends. Captain Ho." Read the message 3 times, then she stood up. "Counselor," the council leader said, "do you wish to speak?" "I do," said. "I believe we should talk to them." The room went silent. Even Warlord stopped shouting. "They say they want peace," continued. "Yes, their ship is frightening. Yes, their history is violent. But they came here with words, not weapons. They asked for dialogue. Should we not at least listen?" "You are naive," growled. "They are predators. I can see it in everything they build." "Perhaps," said, "or perhaps they are simply survivors. Their world made them strong because it had to. That does not mean they wish to harm us." Elder finally spoke. His voice was soft and dry like wind through dead leaves. "The counselor speaks wisdom. We have watched the humans for generations. We chose to ignore them. Now they are here, and we must face the consequences of that choice. Let us at least hear what they have to say." The debate continued, but had planted a seed. By the end of the session, the council agreed to one thing. They would send a representative to meet the humans. And Counselor would be that representative. As she left the chamber, she looked out a window at the eternal dawn. The ship hung in space like a sleeping predator, waiting, watching. Tomorrow, she would meet the humans face to face. Tomorrow, she would learn if they truly wanted peace, or if the galaxy had finally met the enemy it had always feared. Either way, nothing would ever be the same. When humanity's warship arrived, the galaxy knew true fear. Part 2: The Reaction. The Emergency Council met again the next morning. Arrived early and found the chamber already full. More representatives had come during the night. Word had spread across the galaxy, and now everyone wanted to see what would happen next. Took her seat and studied the data pad in front of her. The station's sensors had been scanning the eternal dawn all night. The results were disturbing. The ship's armor was made of materials that did not exist in any galactic database. The weapons used energy signatures that no one could identify. The engines produced more power than the entire station combined. And the ship was not empty. Thousands of life signs moved inside it. "They brought an army," Warlord said. He stood at the center of the chamber, pointing at a holographic display of the human vessel. "Look at these numbers. Thousands of soldiers. Hundreds of smaller craft inside the main ship. This is not a diplomatic mission. This is an invasion fleet." "One ship is not a fleet," said calmly. Turned his dark eyes toward her. There were tall creatures built like living weapons. Their skin was thick and gray, their bodies covered in natural armor. They had conquered many worlds before joining the galactic community. Some said they only joined because they ran out of easy targets. "One ship is enough when that ship can destroy everything in its path," replied. "We should strike now, while we have the advantage of numbers." "What advantage?" another voice asked. It was ambassador of a small species known for their intelligence and their fear of conflict. "You saw what happened to the probe we sent. The humans destroyed it before it got within 1,000 kilometers of their ship. Their weapons are faster and more accurate than anything we have. Then we send more probes, said. We send missiles, we send everything we have. And if we miss, asked, if we fail to destroy them, what then? They will know we are their enemies, they will act accordingly. The argument went back and forth, listened and thought about what she knew of human history. The humans had fought many wars among themselves. They had developed weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. They had built machines that could kill millions. And yet, somehow, they had survived. They had not wiped themselves out. They had learned to live together, at least enough to build the eternal dawn and send it into space. What did that mean? Were humans naturally violent, or were they simply very good at surviving? Elder raised one thin hand and the chamber fell silent. They were respected by all species. When they spoke, others listened. I have been alive for 3,000 years, said. I have watched many species enter the galactic community. Some came with weapons, some came with gifts, some came with nothing at all. The humans are different. They came prepared for war, but they asked for peace. This is unusual. This deserves study. Study laughed. While we study them, they will study us. They will learn our weaknesses. They will find ways to defeat us. Perhaps, said, or perhaps they will learn that we mean them no harm, that we can be friends. The humans are young. They do not know us yet. We should teach them who we are before we teach them to fear us. Nodded. I agree with Elder. I volunteer to meet the humans. I will go to their ship and speak with their captain. I will learn what they truly want. The chamber erupted in noise. Some supported her. Many did not, looked at her like she had lost her mind. You will die, he said simply. They will take you inside that monster and we will never see you again. Maybe, said, but someone must take the risk. Someone must make the first step toward peace. If not me, then who? No one answered. The vote was close, but in the end, received permission to contact the Eternal Dawn. She sent a message asking for a meeting. The response came within minutes. Captain Ho accepts your request. You may bring a small team to our ship. We guarantee your safety. We look forward to meeting you. Admiral Bin, on behalf of the Earth delegation. Read the message several times. The tone was formal but warm, professional but friendly. It was not the message of a conqueror. She prepared her team, insisted on coming with her despite her warnings. 2 security officers from the station also joined, though doubted they could protect her if the humans decided to attack. As they boarded the small shuttle, looked back at station. Thousands of beings were watching from the windows. Some waved, most just stared. The flight to the Eternal Dawn took 20 minutes. As they got closer, could see more details of the human ship. The scars on its armor were deeper than she had thought. Some sections had been completely rebuilt. This ship had been through terrible battles and survived them all. A door opened in the side of the vessel. The shuttle flew inside and landed in a massive hangar bay. Looked out the window and saw rows of smaller ships, each one armed and ready. Human soldiers stood in formation, waiting. So many of them, whispered. The shuttle door opened, stepped out first. The humans were waiting. A group of 5 stood at the front, all wearing dark uniforms with symbols on their chests. 3 men and 2 women. They looked similar too in some ways. 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes. But there were differences. Their eyes faced forward like hunters. Their bodies were thick and strong. They moved with a confidence that came from knowing they were dangerous. The human at the center stepped forward. He was older than the others, with gray in his dark hair. His face was calm and kind, but his eyes were sharp. "Counselor," he said in perfect galactic common, "I am Captain Ho. Welcome aboard the Eternal Dawn." Studied him carefully. In his eyes she saw something she had not expected. Not hunger, not cruelty, not the look of a predator about to strike. She saw hope. "Captain Ho," she replied, "thank you for receiving us. I must admit your ship is very impressive, and very frightening. The captain smiled slightly. I understand. We built it to be frightening. We did not know what waited for us in space. We prepared for the worst. He paused. We hoped we were wrong. And were you, asked, were you wrong? Captain Ho looked at her for a long moment. I do not know yet, he said honestly. We have only just arrived. We have met only you. Perhaps you can help us find the answer. Behind was trembling. The security officers had their hands near their weapons, but felt her fear begin to fade. These humans were dangerous. There was no doubt about that, but they were also careful. They were also hopeful. They had come across the stars not to conquer but to learn. Perhaps there was a chance for peace after all. Captain said, I believe we have much to discuss. The captain nodded. Yes, counselor, I believe we do. He turned and gestured toward a door at the far end of the hangar. Please follow me. Let us talk about the future. Followed him, her team closed behind. As they walked deeper into the human ship, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Whatever happened next would change the galaxy forever. She only hoped it would change it for the better. When humanity's warship arrived, the galaxy knew true fear. Part 3, First Contact. Captain Ho led and her team through the corridors of the Eternal Dawn. The ship was even larger than it appeared from outside. The halls were wide enough for vehicles to pass through. The ceilings were high and covered with lights that glowed like small suns. Everywhere looked, she saw humans. They worked at computer stations. They carried equipment. They walked in groups, talking and laughing. Some stopped to look at the aliens passing by, but most just nodded politely and continued their work. Your crew is very large, observed. 20,000, the captain said. This ship can stay in space for 10 years without returning to Earth. We needed enough people to maintain everything and keep each other company. 10 years, repeated. That is a very long journey. We did not know how far we would need to go, Captain Ho explained. We planned for every possibility. They arrived at a large room with a round table in the center. Windows lined one wall, showing the stars outside. Several humans were already seated, including a woman with short hair and sharp eyes who rose when they entered. This is Admiral Bin, the captain said, my second in command, and this is Dr. Han, our expert on languages and cultures. Admiral bowed slightly. Her face was serious, almost cold. Could see years of military training in how she stood and how she watched the room. Dr. Han was different. She smiled warmly and came forward to greet them. Counselor, it is an honor. We have studied your people from a distance for many years. I am so happy to finally meet you in person. You studied us? Asked. We studied everyone, Dr. Han said. We listened to your communications. We watched your ships from far away. We learned your languages and your histories. We wanted to understand you before we introduced ourselves. And what did you learn? Asked. Dr. Han looked at Captain Ho. He nodded slightly. We learned that the galaxy is complicated, Dr. Han said carefully. Many species, many cultures, many conflicts. We learned that some species do not like outsiders. We learned that our world was marked as dangerous and avoided. That is why we built the Eternal Dawn. We did not want to come into the galaxy as victims. Understood now. The humans had known they were being watched. They had known they were considered threats, and instead of hiding, they had prepared. Please sit, Captain Ho said. We have much to discuss. They all took seats around the table. Noticed that the human food and drink had been replaced with items suitable for. Someone had done research. First, the captain said, I want to explain why we are here. Humanity has dreamed of traveling to the stars for thousands of years. We wrote stories about it. We made machines to search for other life. When we finally discovered that we were not alone, we were excited. Then we were afraid. Afraid of what? Asked. Of you, the captain said simply. Of all of you. We intercepted communications that described our world as a death world. We learned that other species considered us too violent to contact. We realized that we might be attacked simply for existing. Admiral Bin spoke for the first time. Her voice was flat and precise. We decided that our first ship would be a warship, not because we wanted war, but because we needed to survive long enough to prove we wanted peace. A strange way to ask for peace, muttered. Perhaps, Admiral said, but it worked. We are here, we are talking. No one has died. In human history, that counts as a successful first contact. There was silence around the table. Considered the Admiral's words. They were hard but honest. Captain said, I must ask you something directly. What does humanity want? Captain Ho leaned forward. We want to join the galactic community. We want to trade with other species. We want to share knowledge and culture. We want to explore the universe and discover its secrets. We want friends. And if you cannot have friends, asked, if the galaxy decides you are too dangerous? The captain's eyes grew sad. Then we will defend ourselves. We will not be conquered. We will not be destroyed, but we will never strike first. We will never attack those who do not attack us. This is our promise. Dr. Han reached into a bag beside her chair and pulled out several objects. A small device that played music when she touched it. A book with pictures of Earth's landscapes. A piece of fabric with beautiful patterns woven into it. These are gifts, she said. Samples of human art and culture. We wanted you to know that we create beauty, not just weapons. We write poetry, we paint pictures, we dance and sing and celebrate life. We are not just warriors. Picked up the music device. A gentle melody played, unlike anything she had heard before. It was sad and hopeful at the same time. This is beautiful, she admitted. It was written 300 years ago, Dr. Han said, by a man who never knew his music would travel to the stars. He wrote it because he felt alone. He hoped someone would hear it and understand. Looked at the humans around the table. They were strange creatures. They built terrible weapons and wrote beautiful music. They prepared for war and hoped for peace. They expected enemies and offered friendship. Captain, she said, I believe you. I believe you want peace. But I must warn you, not everyone in the galaxy will be so accepting. They in particular see your arrival as a threat. They may attack you. We know, Admiral said. We have been monitoring communications. The warlord has been sending messages to his since we arrived. And you are not worried? Asked. Captain Ho smiled slightly. We are always worried, Counselor. That is why we built this ship, but we are also prepared. If they attack us, we will defend ourselves. We will not be slaughtered, but we will also not seek revenge. We will show them that humans can be both strong and merciful. How? Asked. You will see, the captain said. If it comes to that, I hope it does not. The meeting continued for several hours. They discussed trade agreements and cultural exchanges. They talked about human history and traditions. Dr. Han shared stories of Earth and told them about the galaxy they had entered. By the end, felt something she had not expected to feel, respect. The humans were not monsters. They were survivors just like everyone else. They had clawed their way out of a dangerous world and into the stars. They carried their scars with them, but they also carried hope. As prepared to leave, Captain Ho walked her to the hangar. Thank you for coming, he said. You took a great risk. Someone had to, replied. I hope you will speak well of us, the captain said. We truly do want peace, but I understand if others do not believe us. Trust must be earned. We are prepared to earn it. Looked back at the hangar full of soldiers and weapons. It will take time, she said. The galaxy has never seen anything like humanity. We know, Captain Ho said. We have time, and we have patience. After all, we spent 100 years preparing for this moment. We can wait a little longer for friendship. Boarded her shuttle and flew back to station. As she watched the eternal dawn grow smaller in the window, she thought about everything she had learned. The humans were dangerous. That much was certain. But they were also kind and hopeful and determined. They had built a warship to survive, but they filled it with art and music and dreams. Perhaps there was hope for the galaxy after all. But somewhere in space, warships were already gathering, and not everyone shared hope for peace. When humanity's warship arrived, the galaxy knew true fear. Part 4: The Strike. The attack came without warning. Was in her quarters on station, writing her report about the meeting with the humans. She wanted to be careful with her words. She wanted to convince the council that humanity could be trusted. She was halfway through her conclusion when the alarms began. Red lights flashed, sirens screamed. The station shook as something massive arrived nearby. Ran to the nearest observation window. What she saw made her blood turn cold. 30 warships hung in space between the station and the eternal dawn. They had dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. Their weapons were already glowing with power. No whispered, no, no, no. The station's communication system crackled with Warlord's voice. Attention, human vessel, you are surrounded. Your weapons and shields cannot defeat us all. Surrender now and your crew will be treated as prisoners of war. Resist and you will be destroyed. Grabbed her communicator. What are you doing? The council did not authorize this. His voice was cold. The council is weak. They would have let these predators grow stronger. I am protecting the galaxy from a threat that should have been eliminated long ago. They came in peace, shouted. They came in a warship, replied. That is all the truth I need. The communication cut off, turned back to the window. The ships were moving forward, forming a sphere around the eternal dawn. It was a classic battle formation, designed to overwhelm a single target with attacks from every direction. For a long moment, nothing happened. The human ship floated silently, surrounded by enemies. It looked small suddenly, despite its massive size, 30 against 1. Even the most powerful vessel could not survive those odds. Then a voice came over the open channel, calm, clear, almost gentle. This is Captain Ho of the Eternal Dawn. We did not come here to fight. We do not wish to harm anyone. Stand down your weapons and we can resolve this peacefully. Laughed, the sound was ugly and cruel. You think I am afraid of you, human. You think your single ship can threaten me. I have conquered worlds, I have destroyed fleets. You are nothing. We are not nothing, the captain said quietly. But we do not want to prove that with blood. Please stand down. Fire commanded. 30 ships opened fire at once. Energy beams and missiles and plasma bolts filled the space around the eternal dawn. The light was so bright that had to shield her eyes. When she could see again, she expected to see wreckage. She expected to see the human ship torn apart. Instead, she saw the eternal dawn moving. The human vessel twisted through the barrage like a living thing. Attacks that should have hit passed through empty space. The ship was too big to move like that. It was impossible, but it was happening. And then the humans fired back. Beams of golden light shot from the eternal dawn's weapons. They moved faster than anything had ever seen. They struck the ships with perfect accuracy, hitting exactly where they needed to hit. The first ship lost its engines. The beam cut through the armored section and the vessel went dark, spinning helplessly in space. The second ship lost its weapons. Every gun and missile launcher exploded in a shower of sparks. The third ship's shields collapsed, but instead of destroying it, the human weapon stopped. The ship drifted, disabled but intact. Watched in amazement. The humans were not trying to kill they were taking them apart piece by piece, removing their ability to fight without destroying the crews inside. Admiral Bin's voice came over the channel, sharp, focused, commanding. Target their propulsion and weapon systems, minimize casualties, show them what mercy looks like. The battle lasted 7 minutes. When it was over, 12 ships were floating dead in space. Their engines were gone, their weapons were slag, but their life support systems still worked. Their crews were alive. The remaining 18 ships, including S flagship, had pulled back. They were damaged but still functional. They could have continued fighting. They chose not to. Captain Ho's voice returned to the channel. "Warlord, you attacked us without cause. You tried to destroy us. We could have killed everyone in your fleet. We chose not to. Remember that." There was silence. Then spoke, and his voice was different now. The arrogance was gone. Something else had replaced it. Something that sounded like fear. "What are you?" he asked. "We are human," the captain replied. "We are what our world made us, strong enough to survive, kind enough to show mercy, wise enough to know the difference between victory and peace. Take your fleet and go. Tell your people what happened here. Tell them that humanity could have destroyed you. Tell them that we chose not to. And tell them that we still want friends, not enemies." The fleet retreated. One by one, the ships activated their FTL drives and disappeared. Even the disabled vessels were collected by their comrades before they left. Stood at the window, tears running down her face. She was crying with relief and amazement, and something else she could not name. The humans had won. They had faced 30 enemies and won without killing anyone. They had shown strength and mercy at the same time. They had proven everything they said was true. Her communicator beeped, a message from Captain Ho. "Counselor, are you safe?" "Yes," she replied. "Yes, I am safe, Captain. What you just did, I have never seen anything like it." "We did not want to fight," the captain said, "but we will not be victims, and we will not become monsters to survive. There has been enough death in human history. We came to the stars to find a better way." "You found it," said Captain. "I think you just changed everything." There was a pause. When the captain spoke again, his voice was tired but hopeful. "I hope so, Counselor. I really hope so. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to contact the... Someone should explain to them what happened before the stories become legends." The channel closed. Looked out at the eternal dawn, floating peacefully among the stars. The ship that had terrified the galaxy had just shown the galaxy what true strength looked like. Not the strength to destroy, the strength to spare. The council would meet tomorrow. There would be arguments and debates and fear, but knew deep in her heart that things would never be the same. Humanity had arrived, and against all expectations they had brought hope with them. Smiled through her tears. Perhaps the galaxy was finally ready to grow up. When humanity's warship arrived, the galaxy knew true fear. Part 5: A New Era. 3 days had passed since the battle. The galaxy was still trying to understand what had happened. News of the defeat spread faster than any ship could travel. Every species, every world, every station heard the story. 30 warships had attacked the humans. The humans had won in 7 minutes, and they had not killed a single soldier. Some called it a trick, some called it luck, but those who watched the recordings knew the truth. The humans were exactly what they appeared to be, terrifying and merciful at the same time. Stood in the council chamber on station. The room was fuller than she had ever seen it. Representatives from species that rarely left there had come to witness this moment. Even the had sent 3 additional elders. Captain Ho stood at the center of the chamber with Admiral Bin and Dr. Han beside him. They wore their formal uniforms, dark blue with golden symbols. They stood straight and proud, but not arrogant. They looked like what they were, leaders of a young species asking for a chance. "Captain Ho," the council speaker announced, "you have requested to address this assembly. You may speak." The captain stepped forward. His eyes moved across the chamber, looking at each species in turn. When he spoke, his voice was calm and clear. 3 days ago, we were attacked. We defended ourselves. We won. But we did not celebrate our victory. We spent those 3 days thinking about what it meant." He paused. The chamber was completely silent. "We came to the stars because we were curious. We built a warship because we were afraid. Both of those things are true. Humans are complicated. We carry our fears and our hopes together. We cannot separate them. Admiral Bin stood perfectly still beside him. Her face revealed nothing, but noticed that her hands were clasped behind her back, fingers tight. Even she was nervous. "We know that many of you still fear us," the captain continued. "You look at our ship and you see a weapon. You look at our history and you see violence. You are not wrong, but you are not seeing everything." He gestured toward Dr. Han. She stepped forward and activated a small projector. Images appeared in the air above them. Children playing, musicians performing, artists painting, scientists working together, people helping strangers, humans building and creating and laughing and crying. "This is also humanity," the captain said. "We are more than our wars. We are more than our weapons. We are dreamers and builders and lovers and friends. We came to the stars not to conquer but to connect. We want to learn from you. We want to share with you. We want to build something new together." Elder rose from his seat. The ancient moved slowly, but when he reached the floor, every eye followed him. "Captain," he said in his dry, ancient voice, "I have lived for 3,000 years. I have watched species rise and fall. I have seen empires built on conquest crumble to dust. I have seen peaceful civilizations destroyed by those who mistook kindness for weakness." He walked closer to the captain. Despite being shorter and older, he somehow seemed to fill the room. "In all my years, I have never seen what I saw 3 days ago, a species with the power to destroy showing the wisdom to spare, a people who could have been monsters choosing to be something better." He turned to face the council. "The humans terrify me, but they also give me hope. I believe we should give them a chance." The chamber erupted in noise, voices shouting agreement and disagreement, species arguing with each other. The chaos lasted for several minutes. Stood and raised her hand. Slowly, the noise faded. "I went aboard the Eternal Dawn," she said. "I met these humans. I saw their ship full of weapons and soldiers, but I also saw something else. I saw people who were afraid of us, afraid of what we might do to them. They built that ship because they expected us to be enemies. They hoped we would be friends." She looked at Captain Ho. "They gave us a choice. We can prove them right to be afraid. We can attack them, push them away, force them to become the monsters we fear. Or we can prove them right to hope. We can welcome them, work with them, help them understand that the galaxy can be kind." She turned back to the council. "What kind of galaxy do we want to be?" The debate continued for hours, but in the end, the vote was clear. The galactic community would offer humanity a provisional membership. Trade agreements would begin immediately. Cultural exchanges would follow. Full membership would come after a trial period of 10 years. It was not everything the humans wanted, but it was a beginning. After the vote, found Captain Ho standing alone by a window. He was looking out at the stars. "Congratulations, Captain," she said. "You got what you came for." He smiled, but there was sadness in his eyes. "We got a chance. That is all we ever wanted, a chance to prove ourselves." "You already proved yourselves," said. "The battle showed everyone who you really are." "The battle showed what we can do," the captain corrected. "It will take years to show who we are. We are prepared for that journey." Admiral Bin approached them. For the first time, saw something like warmth in her sharp features. "Captain Earth has received our report. They are celebrating. The whole planet is watching our broadcasts. They are very proud." Captain Ho nodded. "Tell them the real work begins now. We have made friends today. We must spend the rest of our lives keeping them." The admiral nodded and walked away. The captain turned back to the window. "Captain," said, "may I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "When you were fighting were you afraid? Were you worried you might lose?" The captain was quiet for a long moment. "No," he finally said. "I was not afraid of losing. I was afraid of winning wrong. I was afraid that our weapons would destroy those ships and everyone aboard. I was afraid that we would prove all the fears about humanity true. That was the real battle, not against ourselves. Understood, the humans had not just fought an enemy, they had fought their own nature, and they had won. You are a remarkable species, Captain Ho. We are trying to be, he said. Every day we are trying. The Eternal Dawn stayed at station for 3 more weeks. The humans met with traders and diplomats and scientists. They shared their music and art. They learned about the galaxy they had entered. They made friends. When they finally left, thousands of beings came to watch. The massive warship that had once filled them with terror now filled them with something else. Not quite trust, not yet, but the beginning of trust, the seed of friendship. Captain Ho stood on the bridge as the ship prepared to depart. Admiral Bin joined him, standing at his right side as she always did. "Do you think we made the right choice?" she asked quietly. "Coming here, building this ship, everything we did." The captain watched the stars ahead. So many worlds, so many species, so many possibilities. "We will find out together," he said. "That is the human way. We do not know if we are right. We hope we are right. And we keep trying until we find the answer." The Eternal Dawn's engines powered up. The ship began to move, accelerating toward new adventures and new challenges. Behind them, station grew smaller and smaller, but the connections they had built remained, the first threads of a friendship that would span the galaxy. Humanity had arrived among the stars. They had shown the galaxy their weapons and their mercy, their fear and their hope. They had proven that strength and kindness could exist in the same heart. The galaxy would never be the same. And that, perhaps, was exactly what it needed.